There are places where people go to heal, and there are places where people go and never truly leave. Blackwood Psychiatric Hospital had been abandoned for 23 years. The hospital stood on the edge of a small town, surrounded by dead trees and thick fog. Its windows were broken, its walls were covered in mold, and the old sign above the entrance had almost completely collapsed. But the people of the town still refused to go near it. They said the hospital was haunted, not by one ghost, but by the patients who had died there. And according to the oldest stories, one patient was still waiting for someone to come back. In October 1998, a young nurse named Emily Carter started working at Blackwood Hospital. Emily was 26 years old. She had heard the rumors, of course. Everyone had. But she didn't believe in ghosts. On every first night, the hospital seemed strangely quiet. Too quiet. The corridors smelled of disinfectant and something much older. Emily was checking patient records when she noticed something unusual. Room 314. There was a patient assigned to it, Daniel Miller. But when Emily checked the hospital database, there was no record of anyone named Daniel Miller. She assumed it was a mistake. Then she heard a sound. 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Emily looked toward the end of the hallway. Room 314. She walked towards the door. Hello? No answer. She opened it. The room was empty. There was only an old metal bed, a small table, and a chair facing the wall. Emily stepped inside. Then she noticed something written on the wall. 4 words. Don't let him out. Emily frozen. She immediately left the room. The next morning, she asked the head nurse about room 314. The woman's face changed. She looked nervous. Who told you about that room? Emily explained what had happened. The head nurse was silent for several seconds. Then she said, Room 314 hasn't been used in 23 years. Why? The woman looked directly into Emily's eyes. Because of Daniel. Daniel Miller had been admitted to Blackwood Hospital in 1975. According to his medical records, he suffered from severe hallucinations. He claimed that something lived inside the hospital walls, something that could imitate people's voices, something that could make people see things that weren't really there. But Daniel kept repeating one sentence. It isn't in my head. Doctors believed he was delusional. They locked him inside room 314. 3 days later, Daniel disappeared. The door had been locked from the outside. There was no window. There was nowhere for him to go. But Daniel was gone. The only thing left behind was a message written on the wall. It knows my name. After that night, strange things began to happen. Patients started hearing voices coming from empty rooms. Nurses saw people standing at the end of corridors. Security cameras recorded figures walking through locked doors. And sometimes, patients would wake up screaming because someone was whispering their name from underneath their beds. The hospital was eventually shut down. But room 314 was never opened again. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. At 3:17 a.m., she heard the hospital intercom turn on. Static filled the corridor. Then a voice spoke, a man's voice. Emily, she sold up. The intercom cracked again. Emily Carter. Her blood ran cold. She walked into the hallway. Who is this? Silence. Then, please. The voice sounded frightened. Please open the door. Emily looked towards room 314. The door was slightly open. She knew she hadn't left it that way. Slowly, she walked toward it. Inside the room, The chair was no longer facing the wall. It was facing the door, and someone was sitting in it. Oh man. His back was turned towards Emily. "Daniel?" The man slowly turned his head, but his face, it was completely black. No eyes, no mouth, nothing. Emily screamed and ran. She reached the nurse's station and grabbed the phone. There was no signal. Then every light in the hospital went out. Complete darkness. Emily heard footsteps. Behind her. Slow. Heavy. Coming closer. She didn't move. The footsteps stopped. Then someone whispered directly into her ear, "You open the door." Emily turned around. Nothing. But when the emergency lights came back on, there were bloody footprints on the floor. They started at room 314 and ended directly behind her. Emily ran to the security room. She turned on the monitors. The cameras were still working. She searched through the footage. Camera 12, empty hallway.